show. This is a big day. It is a big game. It's Paul, Jaden, and Joe all joining you here this afternoon to talk about nothing else but Kentucky taking on, I don't know, I'd say probably one of I'd say probably it depends on who it is. Maybe the most hated team, most hated rival. I think it probably will vary, depends on who you ask. I think some people probably might have Tennessee a little bit higher than that right now. I think there's a big hatred for Tennessee because of their fan base. We just don't play Duke all the time. But it's a big day because it's two blue bloods with multiple national championships, both top 10 in wins, both battling out for the same recruits. You're seeing, Duke has a new coach who's not in his first year, but obviously he's coming off a disappointing season. Both rosters have been completely overhauled. So there's a lot of interesting things and parallels, guys. How excited are you for this game tonight?
Man, I'll be honest, I didn't sleep very well last night because my adrenaline has been thinking about this game. I'm just excited to see how we man up against Duke, who obviously is a title contender, and I think they're averaging almost 100 points a game, just like we are. And so this will tell me where we stand. Like, do we have a legitimate team? I think we do, but we're actually going to have to lace them up and be competitive, whereas the other teams didn't really give us much challenges. This team, like, literally squares up. They have every position that we have, and so I'm so excited. And unfortunately, we got the second game, so that means that more than likely the game won't end until 11:30 or midnight. And depending on how that goes, we're either be really happy and not get much sleep tonight, or be really frustrated, and everybody's going to be on the message boards and Twitter. So that'll be fun as well.
Well, we're really excited because we're also doing the live stream tonight again. Me and Rando will be hosting. Obviously, I think we're going to have, multiple people. I don't know if maybe some other people will come over and join. We'll see. We're kind of talking about that, but that'll be the primary. So it'll be fun. We did that for the Tennessee game and it worked out real well. Jaden, I know you've been looking forward to this game. It's probably made you a little bit nauseous. But now we're here. The season has started. We've seen Kentucky play 4 times now, and now it gets real. What do you think tonight? By the way, do you guys like how the beard is like? I'm not like Joe, like Bunyan-y, but I will tell you, this morning I went and I was gonna trim myself up and everything, and I didn't pay attention, and I was gonna because my beard was getting bushy, right? I hit it with a 2 instead of a 4, and I went down the first time. I was like, shit. So I kept going. I was just like, well, a lot of my beard's gone. I opened the door. My wife goes, oh, look, you look attractive again. You don't look homeless. I was like, thanks. So that's how my day started. Anyway, go ahead, Jen.
Sounds like you found your new look then.
Yeah, I mean, I like it a little. Like, it's a good summer look. I was trying to just get the scraggles out for No Shave November, and I kind of fucked it up.
Well, you live and you learn. Now you know to make sure to double check your razor.
40 years, almost 40 years in, and I still don't know how to double check shit. So
it's a difficult process. It really is. Yeah. Back to the game. Obviously, it's super exciting to see them play against somebody that is real and has players that we've heard of and things of this nature. It's the first test for both teams, which I think is even more exciting and is maybe why I've had so much trouble trying to figure out what is going to happen tonight. Because, preseason prediction or preseason, we talked about it last week. I thought Duke would win. I gave my prediction this morning. I thought Kentucky would win when we did the post. And now I kind of think Duke's going to win again. So, I keep going back and forth on who I think is going to win the game, and I can't figure it out. And it's because, well, neither of these teams have really played anybody, and they're both really good. Is the big thing. Is not both teams are like legit contenders, I would say.
So let's look. How about we look at the numbers? Let's talk about the numbers of this game, right? We are. I don't think. Let me rephrase this. If this was 10 games into the season and the numbers were the way they are, you would sit here and just go, it's even harder to predict. The reason why it's so hard to predict is they basically, these two teams are mirrors of each other right now through 2 games. The only difference, Kentucky has slight edges in a few things. Now, whether or not that means anything or not, I don't think so. It's not like there's an astronomical, right? It's not like Kentucky's averaging 25 more points per game or anything like that. But if you kind of look at the numbers, Kentucky's averaging, I actually think I messed up on that. It's 101.5. I need to go edit that. Duke's not averaging 98. Kentucky's shooting 53.3% from the floor, 40% from three. Duke's 52.2, 41.8 from three. So they're a little bit better from three, but tomato on that. Kentucky's averaging 10 steals. Duke's averaging 9. Kentucky's averaging 49 rebounds. Duke's averaging 45. Kentucky has 5 players in double figures, averaging double figures through 2 games, and Duke has Kentucky has 7. Duke has 5. So when you look at this, you really have to get granular from that perspective, I think. And number one, like I think you look at current trends in college basketball, right? Everybody can talk about Cooper Flag this and top freshmen. There is a trend in college basketball that's now 5-6 years long where you're seeing teams that are very top end heavy and juniors and seniors or grad students that are grad transfers that are the ones that are winning big games. The big difference, the overwhelming difference, is that Kentucky's top contributors are upperclassmen and Duke's contributors, not all of them are freshmen and sophomores, but it's kind of they get a lot of production from freshmen and sophomores. So if you're looking to that key to the game, that might be it.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with that for sure. And not only that, I think Kurt said it best. Cooper Flag's already the number 1 pick next year, so he has all the pressure on him to perform tonight. And I think they expect Andrew Carr to be guarding him when it gets tipped tonight. But I think we're going to throw Amari Williams at him. And I got a good feeling that Williams will be able to contain him a little bit. Knopel and some of the other guards, I don't think they've seen Lamont Butler or Otega yet. And that it'll really depend on the officiating as well. If they let them play and we can be like tough-nosed defense, how we've been playing the first couple of games, I think that'll be frustrating to Duke. They're not at home. They'll be away from their the referees at home that they always get biased calls. But I will also say we lean to put our shoulder down a lot, and Duke's known for flopping. And so it'll be interesting to see if we get any technicals tonight because I know that's a new rule where you can't flop. So there's just a lot of aspects that I'm excited to see.
It's important that we note one of the bigger problems with freshmen is, yes, there's a basketball skill and understanding deficit, but normally it's the body and kind of the development that is the problem. And this is not a problem for the Duke freshman that we see this year. Kidiple's skinny, but he's 6'7" and playing the three, shooting 50% from three. People are comparing him to kind of a Tyler Hero kind of player. He looks a lot like Dalton Knecht to me. I don't know if you all have similar opinions, but Cooper Flag is 6'9", and he's skinny, but he's NBA build for a 6'9" stretch 1 through 5. And then Maluach is a monster. He's like, that's not a freshman body. So I think that's a role, and mentally it will matter. But if it wasn't Cooper Flag, I would be much more confident in the freshman struggling, if that makes a little bit more sense. But maybe I'm overestimating Cooper Flag, and I'm sure I am. But he's really good.
No, I mean, he played against the USA NBA.
I think we lost Joe.
Yeah, I can't hear Joe. Going off Team USA, I think most people
defensive player of the year multiple times, which he has.
You definitely cut out. All right, I think we lost Joe.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Team USA though, what he was saying, Flag played on the junior select team, which is young guys that play against the Team USA that we watched with Anthony Davis, Steph, LeBron, and he was working those guys. Especially there are clips you can go watch of him giving Anthony Davis the business, and I think we've heard of Anthony Davis. We know how good Anthony Davis is.
Yeah, but how was Anthony Davis trying hard?
I mean, you can try so hard when you put your hand up, and the guy that's 6'9" shoots it over your hand if you're Anthony Davis. So I don't know. Stuff like that kind of translates to me if it's 6'9" rising up over Anthony Davis and hitting threes, stuff like that. And I don't want to make him seem like he is the greatest player to ever play basketball. I've seen a lot of people saying freshman, he's gonna play bad. he's really good. I hope people can still understand that even though he's projected number one already and he already has all this and that, like there's a reason. It's because he's really good at basketball.
Joe,
Y'all
are you
lose it?
back? There
Yeah.
you go. You're back now.
I don't even know what happened. I just heard you say we lost Joe, and I was still on there talking. I could see you guys. I was like, well, that's weird. Well, it sounds like you jumped into what I was talking about. I just feel like some of these freshmen on Duke hasn't seen the defensive capacity of what we can bring. We got multiple defensive player of the years, and we're a physical basketball team. And so I hope that we can get in their head. Also, I think our depth is a lot more impactful than there is. And so if we get them in foul trouble or anything like that, I feel like that's a huge advantage Kentucky's way. I know one of the stats that you kind of went over a little bit, but we're almost, I think we're at 27 assists a game, and I think they're at like 17. So we definitely share the ball a lot more than Duke does. I see a lot more one-on-one action. I mean, they still have like 17 assists. I mean, that's pretty awesome. But their assist to turnover ratio is a lot higher compared to us, and I think that'll also be a difference tonight.
Yeah, assist to turnover ratio, we're 10th in the country, and they're tied for 56. So if you're looking for kind of a number difference, that is the assists and kind of the ball movement is a place that we actually have a reasonable advantage.
I mean, how much do we drop off when we start subbing guys in? I mean, other teams, I've seen a massive drop off, whereas Kentucky, when we've been bringing in 2 or 3 at a time, I mean, we've been going 10 or 11 deep. I haven't seen a massive drop off at all, hardly. Whereas other teams, there is a massive drop off. And so if we can throw 10 guys at you and they can only throw 8 and they get in foul trouble, I mean, that again, huge advantage Kentucky. And I hope that's what happens. I hope it's a up and down, like quick transition like it has been, and they'll wear out because they've never played anybody like us yet.
I think the big thing, that's number one. Like the big thing I think from both sides of the ball is neither team is facing offense like they're going to face tonight. So I feel like there's a huge makeup of a huge aspect that this is probably a shootout in the works. Both teams have a lot of offensive power. Defense traditionally is something that lacks a little bit early in the season. I think that it's going to come down, and I'm just like plugging the article that I just wrote. It's going to come down to 3 things in my I think three things are going to be a big piece to why one team wins or another, but like number one is defense, but it's in timely stops, right? I put how do one of these teams stop an 8-point run from turning into a 15-point run, right? Little things like that are going to make a big deal. Rebounding, extra possessions, and the team who wins the rebounding battle tonight might win the game because the extra possessions that the teams with this much offensive firepower get, you can have, if you have a 10-point swing in just that alone, we could talk about turnovers. I think both teams play pretty clean basketball from that perspective. Like, I don't think you're going to maybe, look, I'm going to say this and one team's going to have 22 turnovers tonight and I'm going to look like an absolute dumbass. But like both teams don't necessarily play real, like terrible from that perspective. So you wouldn't expect a lot of turnovers, especially with both teams not necessarily being defensive juggernauts at this point of the season. So that extra possession and on the rebounding perspective, can one guy get a stop in that under 2-minute situations at both ends of the half? Who's going to be able to step up? I like the fact that Kentucky, I think, probably has the 3 best defenders on the court in Ortega, Amari, and Lamont. I think, and they're very versatile in who they can guard. So I like that perspective. But I think the biggest X factor tonight, I'm not saying he's going to lead the team in scoring, but I think the biggest X factor is Amari because of what he does overall. He's a 7-foot guy that protects the rim, that plays physical, that can rebound and can push the ball and pass like a guard. Nope, there's not a lot of teams in college basketball that have 7-foot guys that can do that. Now, is he going to drop 35 points a game? Probably not. But his presence and his plus minus when he's on the court is like the second highest, I believe, on the team. So he's somebody who's very key to tonight's game, staying on the court, staying out of foul trouble, because there's nobody like him. Sure, Brandon Garrison can come in, but Brandon Garrison is not Amari Williams. Amari Williams, like some dudes look big, and Amari Williams looks big, right? He looks like a massive specimen on the court. He takes up a lot of space, and his ability to push the ball down the court, his vision is passing, I think is a huge weapon because it allows our shooters and the guards to get into high percentage shot situations. Right, they're able to be off the ball and move. Now it's not every time, right? He's not doing a lot, but it's just like with Bam Adebayo when he brings the ball up, he adds a whole different element to the offense, and I think that's what Amari does. I think tonight you might see Amari stretch the court a little bit more with shooting some 3-pointers. He's not done that so far this year. I don't think he's attempted a 3-pointer this season. I think that would be something that would really confuse Duke's defense even more, especially if they're going to lay off him if he's able to do that. Even if he hits 2, even if he's like 2 of 5, the fact that he hits 1 will make people come out. So that's something I think is going to be really really big and a big X factor in the game tonight.
I wonder who they'll put on him. I mean, I don't think they can put Flag on him, and
I don't know if Amari's the one who guards Cooper Flag, though. To be honest with you, I mean, Cooper Flag's 6'9". So if you think about it, I mean, I don't really think Carr's the right guy to put on him, but Ortega gives up a little bit in size, but I think the physicality that he brings, right? I mean, he's mature in his physical makeup. I think that's probably the guy I think you see start on him. Maybe I'm wrong.
You think we would break out a zone? I think we would, if we did a 1-3-1 zone, I think we would cause a lot of problems. But
are we playing Arkansas?
Yeah, we definitely zoned during Arkansas. They can't shoot, except for Flan hit a couple towards the end. But
Kentucky does have the length to play a zone. I mean, they got long guys. You got Carr, you got Williams, Ortega, you got Jackson Robinson. You got guys that have some length and wingspan, so you can play that. I don't know. Over there, like I don't even know. Jaden needs to start talking because his facial expressions, like, he better just open his mouth.
I'm trying to think through that in real time. I don't know.
It's part of a live show, buddy. You got to be quick on your feet.
I know.
This ain't a cow zone. This is a real zone. Like, this is legit.
They shoot too good. I don't know. It's kind of like when Bucknell dropped into that zone. I looked at the people next to me. I was like, that can't be the answer. Like, I know what they're doing currently isn't the answer, but zone can't be the answer. And it worked for like 2.5 possessions, and then we started hitting all of our threes again.
I think it's the aspect of not necessarily going full zone, but you play maybe a box and one or a high press zone, right? And you're trying to speed them up. And
correct.
Like sometimes, like I liked with Kentucky showing like that 2-2-1 press zone on full court press to make them speed up, and then that can drop into a zone or into a man coverage, right? So it just depends on, I think, how you want to do that. And I think Kentucky, look, the one thing that Cal didn't do is switch the defensive looks up. And I think you're going to see tonight, I think you'll see Kentucky switch its defensive look up. You might see the press. You might see the zone. You might see a zone press. I think you're going to see multiple looks because they're going to try and give, like, they want Duke and guys that haven't necessarily played at this level to see that different things and get their eyes moving because they do have talent. If you make them comfortable, that's going to be the ultimate problem.
So over under 7.5, 8.5 possessions of zone, and then over under 2.5 different zones that we see. Because it feels like if they're going to do it, they got to I feel like they should go with the variety if they're going to try to switch it up. Because just on paper, it doesn't make sense. So if you're going to mix it up, you've got to mix it up.
Well, I think if you're going to play zone, it needs to be more of almost like a man press zone, right? Where you're almost kind of doubling or you're pushing to one side of the court and it's more of a press. That's why I like more of a box and one type zone than like a traditional zone. But it's got to have a press element to it because you want them to speed up. And look, you get hurt on it twice, you just don't do it, right? But I don't think that's something that you don't want to at least put in and have them see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because here's the thing about it. This is also the difference in this game that I feel like. I think Kentucky's got more guys that can drop 25 than Duke does. I think Duke has more guys who can go for 40 though, right? Like, so that's kind of the aspect. Like, Duke's got guys that can just explode. I think Kentucky's got guys that can just like torch you in spurts. Now, look, if you give Kobe Brea 15 looks from 3 and 11 of them are wide open, you're probably going to get torched, right? So we get that. But I think it's going to be harder for Duke to, if a guy or two's not playing well, to win than if one or two of our guys isn't winning, because Kentucky's got 7 dudes that can kind of go off like that.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm excited about to see. I guarantee there's limited minutes tonight for Colin Chandler. I don't see him getting in the game much. I think we go 9 deep tonight, and that's it. I am excited to see. Yeah, hopefully. And I'm excited to see us in the primetime game, too. There's going to be over 20 scouts at the game. And so I think just the national attention's on this game. This is like the first big one that everybody will be watching.
Over under Kerr Kriisa draws a technical foul tonight or gets one himself.
He's on get one.
If it's
I guarantee it.
5 either, over.
Yeah. Hey, but I'll see you guys at the watch party tonight. I got hot.
All right. Good luck at your meetings. All right.
Yep.
I think Kerr Kriisa is going out to really try and like piss someone off tonight.
I think both may be more likely than neither. If I had to say, getting the double tech, getting one on him and one on the other, one on Duke, is maybe more likely than getting neither one on him or Duke. He's gonna mix it up. I'm interested.
I think it's going to be. I think that's going to be like one of the fun things to watch, because he gives, like, his Fs are gone. Like, there's, and I think the interesting thing.
What he said about Flag.
Oh yeah, congrats to him. I think the big thing about this team that America is going to probably see and they don't expect is this Kentucky team's got some swag, and I don't think they realize that.
It's not a typical like Jay Wright Villanova old guys, like fundamental bang bang bang. Everything's very it's free flowing and creative, but in the sense of their emotions as well. Like, you see Ainsley Almanor was talking to everybody on the bench when he was shooting threes on Saturday. Kerr and Brea both called timeouts for Bucknell during the game. Looked at the official and called timeout. So, like, that, it's not older teams, typically you don't see stuff like that, but Kerr or Pope went and found personalities kind of like him that he likes from some of these guys, especially in Kerr, that he has loved for forever. It's kind of Kerr or Pope put into a team emotionally a little bit.
Really, just real quick, we got the State Line Co. swag, so make sure you check out statelineco.shop for some really cool swag and use promo code BLEEBLUE for 10% off your purchases. Jaden, just in case anybody else wanted to, it is only 2:00. You could still get down to Atlanta. It's only about a 4.5, maybe 5-ish hour drive, and you can get in the door for $37. Jaden, you want to get in the truck?
I can get in the door at $37.
$37. You can get. So I will tell you the cheapest. So the cheapest ticket is $37 behind the basket in the upper level. You can get basically center court for $57.
See, I would, but I have been to one Champions Classic in my life. I did make it to one. I was there when Zion beat the absolute brakes off of us. So I am 0 for 1 on Champions Classics.
You can get basically just off midcourt for $52, it looks like now. And those are for 2 tickets. Those are $52 each. So if anybody wants to get in the car and make a drive to Atlanta,
I would probably be considering it if I wasn't a Jinx. So
if you were, you're not a Jinx. It's fine. Cal was a Jinx. It doesn't count anymore. It doesn't count now because it's a new coach. So the Jinxes get restarted. So now you have to see if you're actually a Jinx still.
The new era, like do you see the hype video they posted this morning?
Yeah, that was good.
That was so good. We've been asking for football to do cool things and do stuff like that, like South Carolina, Tennessee did for their uniform stuff, and basketball came through for us.
Are you surprised that you can get in for under $40 for this game tonight? Because if this was at Rupp, the get-in price is probably $300.
It costs you $50 just to get in the queue to get the ticket. They would. I mean, I posted when they said, oh, they also announced they're extending the Champions Classic this morning. I don't know if you saw that. That's not fun. That sucks a lot. I hate that. We've talked about that. They should.
I don't feel like it's. I don't like. I don't feel like it's as fun as it. Why is Michigan State in this thing?
That makes no sense. Why is Ohio State the CBS Classic? Why is Michigan State in the?
Why is Michigan State in this thing? Because Michigan State, they have one national title. They haven't won anything since what, 99?
I was not born.
Huh?
I was not alive.
Yeah, so you've never seen that. Why? I mean, honestly, why the hell is UConn not in this thing?
Wasn't it?
If you had Duke, UConn, Kentucky, and North Carolina,
is it the story that they had somebody else to do it and that team dropped out at the last second, so they picked Michigan State, or was that the CBS with Ohio State? I feel like that happened more. They had somebody really good and they dropped out, and so they panicked and took.
I mean, I feel like in the Champions Classic, it needs to be Kentucky. It needs to be Kentucky, UCLA, Kansas, Duke, North Carolina, and UConn. Those need to be the 6 teams that rotate in the Champions Classic. It should just be 6 teams. Do it on a freaking weekend and start the games at noon and play those, and those 3 teams play. Why not?
They have to do it at the beginning. They have to do it at the beginning of the year, though, and they can't play on weekends until January.
They can. They just try not to because of football season. I get it, but at the same time, it's odd. It's odd, right? I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it, but if you are and you want to see this game, $37, I bet you your get-in price for this game tonight is going to be under $30. If you were to just drive.
It cost me more than that to go to Indianapolis to watch Zion. I'll say that.
Yeah, well, that's also, you're talking about closer proximity. It's interesting that there's probably going to be a decent amount of tickets left. I think you're starting to see games like this on neutral site courts not be as attractive for fans to go to. It was really fun, I think, at the beginning. I think it's less fun now because you can just sit and go to a bar or sit with your friends and enjoy it, and you don't have to kind of go. I wish we talked, like you said, we talked about this more. It would be really awesome to have this where you're playing at a team's arena. Like if we were playing at Duke tonight, I think people would be really jacked up just for the fact that we're also playing at Duke.
I mean, yeah, it would be way more exciting to me if we were going to Cameron or, Chapel Hill or to Kansas or to UConn instead of, really any of the neutral site courts that we play at. Just, I don't know. I think it's exciting early, especially because it's new arenas for some people. Like I had never been to the Indy Arena, Atlanta, New York, Chicago. I think that plays a role, and then also just the newness of the event. But you're right, and I also think people put less stock into it now than they did back in the day.
Like it's going to really break Duke fans' hearts. It's going to really break Duke fans' hearts that we're not going to give a shit as much as they are is if we lose, because we understand where we're at. We understand that we don't have no one's walked into the season saying Kentucky's, blessed with great, all this stuff. Listen, Duke better do something because they didn't do anything with Zion, and if they don't do anything with Cooper Flagg, they're going to bomb with 2 of the biggest college players that they've gotten in the last 20 years, and they're going to have a bomb season with both.
Yeah. That was a travesty that Zion did not make the tournament. That team was just so poorly constructed around somebody like Zion. They literally just offered the top 10 guys and just took 2.
They went to the tournament. They got knocked out in the second
Elite
round?
8 by Michigan State. Elite 8 by Michigan State. Or was it Sweet 6? No,
I think it was
the same round as us. We lost
I think
Michigan State. That was
the Elite 8
was that
then?
Miles Bridges? No, it was the guy after for Michigan State. It was what was that guy's name? The power forward. That's annoying.
I know Florida State almost knocked them out in the ACC title game.
Well, that was the Taco Fall UCF game. It was the second round of that tournament when
was
they
it the
lost?
UCF? Oh, yeah, not was it? I thought FSU almost knocked them out too.
It was Taco in the second round that almost knocked him out.
Almost. I remember watching that game. It was
Brutal.
it was kind of
Still mad about
crazy.
it.
I'm
Wasn't even a
looking.
part of my team.
Duke did not make the Elite Eight. Duke got lost to. Oh, no, they did. Michigan State. You're right.
And they had Cassius Winston. Xavier Tillman was the guy I'm thinking of. Yeah, they had Cassius Winston and Xavier Tillman.
Kentucky lost to Auburn. That game still makes me madder than hell.
Not a fun one. Not a fun one at all. Yeah, you were talking about Amari earlier. And I think that it's really important that he doesn't get in foul trouble, because we saw at Drexel he had foul trouble problems and just problems staying on the court, and we've already seen it a little bit since he's been at Kentucky. A freak injury, but still an injury, and then a foul trouble game. It seems to be more consistent, and it seems to be a better system to fit somebody who plays less minutes. But in a matchup like tonight, with someone as big as the entire Duke roster, we haven't talked about that at all. They are humongous. But anyway, the Kalamuk, Malouch, I've forgotten the name now at this point. I spent all morning trying to figure out how to pronounce it, and then I forgot. He is massive. He's like 7'2", 250. To me, really only
Duke's got three guys over 6'11".
Yeah, it's Kalamu
Patrick
Ngagba.
That
guy's hurt. He's out for the year, I think. He's a freshman. He was like a Cal wanted him. I think he breaks his foot.
They've only got two guys then.
Yeah,
they actually only got two guys. They've only got two guys over 6'9". Then they're not humongous.
But their starters are 6'5",
now,
6'6",
I will tell
6'7", 6'9", 7'2", and then their bench is 6'5", 6'5", 6'6", 6'9".
They don't have anyone that plays, because I'm pretty sure Spencer Hubbard doesn't play much.
No, nobody that plays under 6'5".
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, that is true. Everybody's 6'5". So I mean, they've got size. They've got size in the guard, but like they're traditional. They're not humongous at forward. They're humongous at the guard position. But I mean, we got big dudes too. I mean, Carr, Williams, and Garrison. I mean, you got three guys that are 6'10" to 7 foot.
Yeah, but
we've got big dudes too.
It's a lot of skinnier versions of it when it's on our side, outside of Williams. And
you're also talking about a lot more size. Brandon Garrison's not skinny. He is not a small dude.
Skinnier than Maluach, or Maluach, however they pronounce it. But yeah, it seems like that would be a problem to me, because I think the advantage, same thing on the offensive side, is the guy that I think can work with some of their size advantages is Williams. Offensively, the guy who can take advantage of their size is Amari Williams, because as much as Maluach can muck things up and make an impact size-wise defensively,
Brandon Garrison
limited mobility.
Brandon Garrison is weighs the exact same as that guy. They're both listed at 250.
I don't know. They don't look it.
I mean, but I mean,
yeah, I understand.
If you look at Kentucky from a size perspective, I mean, like, so here's like the thing, right? If you go down, Cooper Flagg's listed at 205. Let's say here the guys that are going to guard him, it's probably Ainsley Almanor, 244, Kobe Brea, 215, Andrew Carr, 235. He won't guard him. Where Otega Owe, 215. Now, Amari Williams is by far the biggest dude. He might be the biggest dude on the court. Amari Williams has got the biggest guy on Duke by almost 20 pounds.
Yeah, but the biggest guy on Duke has him by 3 inches.
No, he doesn't.
2 or 3 inches. Are they listing Amari at 7'1" or something?
Amari's 7 foot, so the other guy at 7'2". Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, 7 foot and 7'2". I'd rather have 7 foot and outweigh the guy by 20 pounds and have more beef than that, because at the size and girth matter to me way more at 7 foot than just being tall. I mean, we've seen that, right?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Amari is the guy on the team that I have the faith in to match up physically with the guy, because this is not a guy that has ball in his hands. This is not a guy that they're going to post up and like try to let him go to work. This is, moving in transition. This is, spotting up on opposite blocks, things of that nature. The things that you have to he's going to get the ball and you have to meet him at the rim. And
so
at
how much
some
of this
point-
though? How much of this though, from the Duke perspective, like from the Kentucky fan to Duke perspective, is it just Duke hype? Because like if I look and I take this back objectively and I just say, let's say this was UConn. Let's say that this was UConn and Kansas playing. All right. I would lean towards the team that had the more experience in that situation. If you look at size comparison, Kentucky's kind of got them on the overall size. If you look at like size in terms of physicality, I think Kentucky's got more physical, the ability to have more of a physical team. They've got they've got the two most physical players on the court, which you like. Like, I don't look at Duke and look at their roster and just be like, man, I don't know how we're going to hang with these dudes. I look at them and be like, I mean, who's going to go get in the post and push Amari around? No one. Who's going to go around and push Otega around? No one. Andrew Carr to me worries me the most on the defensive side of the ball than just about anybody, because like Kreese is going to play like a ravenous, like he's going to play like a ravenous rabbit with steroids. It won't matter who he's guarding. I think Kentucky, look, there's just something in me that says Kentucky is way more polished physically than this Duke team. And I didn't think it originally, and now watching them play, I do.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's just an agree to disagree on, the size and physicality aspect of it. But Kerr, you brought up Kerr, that's the big question mark to me. That's my player that if I had to pick a guy that if this guy plays good, do we win? If I had to guess one guy, I'd say if Kerr Kriisa plays good, I would think that we would win. Because
Kerr Kriisa is going to play something. We know he's going to make a mark on the game. We just don't know. I mean, he might come in and just close like Cooper Flag and get ejected in the first 5 minutes. I mean,
he definitely could. And it's, I think I probably, when I first thought of this take kind of throughout the day, was because of the size problems at guard, the point guards holding their own and not forcing everyone to recover in situations is going to be big to me because of the size difference. And it's obviously less so with Lamont because he's so much bigger and such a freak on defense. But height is height. There are still advantages to this, and there are disadvantages, as I talked yesterday with some of my thoughts on what we should do with Flag. But
I mean, if you think about this, and also a little bit more objectively, how many times have you seen Kentucky over the several years with the bigger, more maybe athletic team get kind of pushed around by a smaller team? And look what happened with us at Texas A&M. Kentucky had the bigger team, right? Like, but it's sometimes the physicality of someone. If you're 6'5" and the other guy's 6'3", but the other guy's got more physicality, that height doesn't play as much as I think it used to 15 years ago.
To an extent, but would you rather have 6'9" freak show Cooper Flag or like a 6'5" guy playing wing? I mean, if you had to pick, if you're going to go, if you're going to have people who are highly skilled, and I think
let me rephrase this: would you rather be Cooper Flag tonight or everybody on Kentucky's roster? Because here's why I asked this: because if he goes out and has a stinker, all they're going to talk about is how he's overrated. So if he doesn't drop 25 tonight, do what?
And he'll still be projected number 1 tomorrow morning.
I'm not worried about that. But if he doesn't score 25 tonight and look like a superstar, there's going to be like there's going to be all this other this stuff, right? Now maybe he does, maybe he scores 35, right? I don't know. I honestly think Cooper Flag, where he scores tonight, is the least important of what happens around the ball, right? Around him. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Oh, yeah, he gave Anthony Davis the business. Is Anthony Davis like really playing, right? Like, how hard is this actually going on? We could talk about that for days. But this is the night where he's got to show that. Like, the pressure is all on Duke in this game. Kentucky's got no pressure on them going. Like, if Kentucky loses this, the fan base isn't going to revolt. They're not going to be like, oh, my God, we're so good. We have all this talent, and we lost again to a good team. No. This team is going in with a chip on its shoulder and everything to gain and nothing to lose. Duke, on the other hand, is expected to win. They have all the pressure on them. And if they lose, there's going to be all kinds of questions on Jon Scheyer. Can he win big games? Does talent, right? Like think about, so all those questions, he gets the talent, but can he coach them? Can he motivate? So you've got all these narratives. So if I'm going into this game, I'd much rather be Kentucky than Duke. Because Jon Scheyer was not necessarily in the greatest position at the end of last season.
No, it wasn't the greatest, but also, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't really care. Like I will be holding on to every point. I'll probably come on the live show with you and do that. I'll probably scream at the television. But like tomorrow, I'm gonna wake up and I will unless something drastic happens, I will more than likely have not changed my opinion on really either team. So I don't know that I always buy the pressure stuff and they have nothing, like the nothing to lose stuff like that. I don't know.
I mean, look, you don't want to lose.
I mean, a little bit placebo effect to me.
Hey, look, but in reality, we don't want to lose. I mean, but if Kentucky, I'm just taking this from the mainstream media and everything. This is the first time I think Kentucky's gone into a matchup like this where the pressure is not on Kentucky in a long time. It gone into a blue blood game and it's not on Kentucky. You don't have that weight in this game. We can look at what Kentucky's done in recent, it doesn't matter. Cal's not here anymore. It's different. I think the fan base, how they view this is different. Now, I think there's expectation. The fan base is excited. But I don't think I think if Kentucky were to go out and get curb stomped, that's a different story. I think if either team wins a close game, I think the narrative is more negative for Duke because of what they've gotten their expectations for the season. I think for Kentucky, it's kind of like, hey, look, they gave him a good shot. But if Kentucky was to go in and boat race Duke, boy, that sets everything on fire. If Kentucky were to get boat raced, I think that now gives Kentucky fans a lot of like, oh, boy, that's not good, right? Like that gives us a lot of concern. Close game, I think it's I think it's more like 55-45 negative towards Duke more, but it's not a big swing.
Yeah. I guess there's more attention on what Duke is doing. Just I would say probably because of the unknown, and we have some unknown with all of the pieces coming together. They have they have the unknown of the freshmen, but I just feel like a lot of takes are always made about the Champions Classic, about the season after the Champions Classic, and it doesn't really seem to have a correlation to the end of the season. So I don't really get worked up into the pressure and things of that nature, especially like.
But Duke, though, I'm talking about Duke from a last year to this year. It's more of a Scheyer narrative than even a Duke narrative. And I understand we getting worked up and too crazy about one game, especially in November or December. I get that. But I think it's the aspect of now it's another thing that Scheyer has. And if they were to go lose another one, right, then it really becomes an issue. I don't think that that's as big of a thing right now for Kentucky as it would be for Duke. That's kind of what I'm saying.
I mean, Duke made the Elite Eight last year. I don't know. I don't know that.
I don't know. I guess I was unaware that Jon Scheyer had these conversations in the most honest way. Hasn't he been to a Final Four and an Elite Eight in 2 of his 3 or 4 years or whatever he's been at Duke now?
I don't think Duke's been to a Final Four, have they?
Didn't his first season he took him to one, or was it was K's last season? That's what it was. Yeah. But I mean, he was an assistant there, and they have a bunch of good grace. He's like one of the beloved members of them. Like it's one of their alumni, one of their prior. I don't know if he's alumni, but he's a prior history with Duke. So I don't know. I would think that Duke fans are crazy and dumb.
Duke was
Scheyer can't win the big one.
Duke's Final Four was Coach K in his last year. Was not.
Yeah, it was the last year. So it's
yeah,
but I don't know. I keep now. I feel like I'm talking to myself. I mean, I feel like all I've done is praise Duke the whole show and a Kentucky pregame show. So now I feel like I've talked myself into Duke winning tonight.
Fucking Duke homer. Take your shirt off. Show everybody what you're wearing underneath.
I am wearing a gray shirt underneath. Actually,
it's a Duke shirt.
Just a Nike shirt.
Yeah, underneath the Nike, it has a Duke Blue Devil.
It's a whole lot wider underneath.
It's just Duke it.
It gets quite pale underneath the Nike shirt.
This is just Duke it.
Not for social media consumption, I would say.
If
I think you should shave your chest hair to say F Duke.
Do what?
I think you should shave your chest hair to say F Duke. I think
I don't have enough chest hair for that.
Well, does somebody listening to this?
I'm sure somebody listening to this has this, but like I bet you Joe does. He looks kind of hairy. Rando like, bleaches himself. So
yeah, that's military down to the bone right there. It's
yeah, he waxes himself daily.
He may carve F Duke into himself or something.
He probably would with a knife, It just be like, fuck Duke, right? Just with a big old like military knife,
like a hatchet or something.
Just burn it. Just get like a hole, just right in his chest. F Duke, like brand himself like Yellowstone. Here's a question: Are you a Yellowstone fan? I
have not watched Yellowstone.
All right, you're fired.
Fair. I feel like I get fired every week on this.
I mean, how do you not watch Yellowstone? It's a.
Well, here's the problem. Here's the problem: is I didn't have. Is it Apple TV that's on? I didn't have that when it came out.
No, it's Paramount.
Paramount. Okay, I did not have that when it came out.
Peacock.
Yeah, all of these things didn't have it when it came out. I now have these things with my college apartment, but I've seen like half episodes of multiple parts, and I've unfortunately seen a number of spoilers that really make
there's still a lot to it. You need to watch it.
Not seem
well for those listening that do watch Yellowstone. It was very interesting that Costner came out yesterday and had and said he didn't quit the show. So that was an interesting conversson. Very easy to bring people back from the dead in TV. It's weird how that happens. It's interesting if you I'm a big fan. I went out and bought a cowboy hat after I watched season 2.
So what are you doing this whole afternoon until the game doing? What's our pregame? Do we have a pregame ritual or anything?
Yeah. Make sure my daughter doesn't stick her hand in a poop diaper and smear it everywhere. Try and wear my kids out to where they go to sleep by 9:30.
That would also work.
Eat food, stay on a diet, and try and have my kids either not kill themselves or each other. It's just daily.
That feels like a relatively good plan.
There's
maybe a couple things we could throw in there, but
I mean, when you're a dad with 3 kids, there's not a lot you throw in. Like it's just survival. You just end the day and just wake up the next day and go, here we go again.
Please make sure everybody is in their bed at the night. Please.
It's like an episode of Survivor every day. You just never know. You never know who's going to get cut. You never know who's just going to drop. You never know who's going to need medical attention. It's just Russian roulette every damn day.
So you said we are doing outdoor watch party?
I mean, that's what I think that's kind of what the plan is.
All right. I'll come do that. What time you want me over there?
7:30.
That works.
Because I think we're going to start at 8.
Yeah, that works.
We'll start at 8. So we'll kick the tires and light the fires. We'll get the fire roaring. Maybe we'll go get some marshmallows. We could do some s'mores.
Ooh, that would be big time.
Do the tent's down. Huh?
A live s'more making tutorial?
Oh man. I'm
a burn or gooey?
I like it gooey on the inside and crispy on the outside. Yeah. Sometimes if I'm in a rush, I'll light it on fire on the outside just to get the outer crust and then get rid of it. But that'll be I just got to go get some more firewood because I mean I go through that like water at this point. But it's kind of fun to watch it outside, especially this time of year. It's a little cold. Now here's the thing: we got to get with Rando on this because Rando's going to be big on it. Do we know what color jersey? Well, are we wearing white or blue tonight?
I have absolutely no idea.
Although we did get on the plane yesterday looking like the damn Backstreet Boys Millennium.
They were wearing
record.
the abominable snowman Halloween costume yesterday. Getting on
I
the
mean,
plane.
dude, I don't know who posted it and then posted the Backstreet Boys Millennium album, but it literally is spot on that aspect. But here's the thing: we got to ask Rando because we did this last time. We color coordinated, so we went all white with the all white. So if we're wearing white or blue, I feel like we need to keep that up. So you need to make sure you color coordinate. We got to get with Rando on this and see.
Do we need to do the opposite though, since we lost the Tennessee game?
No, it's basketball, so we can still try it and we can see what happens.
Okay.
In football, we might. In football, maybe we but we almost won too. So
we did almost win.
We'll see what happens with Texas. We might have to. We'll do the live watch along with Texas as well. So we'll see how that goes. That could be an interesting piece.
That's when I start yelling at people I'm not supposed to be yelling at. Watching that Texas game. Actually, the Louisville games when I'll start yelling at people I shouldn't yell at.
Yeah, but we'll be at the stadium for that one. We all have to watch about it. Rando's going to do the watch along by himself on that one. The interesting piece, I think. Huh?
Is that a good idea?
Probably not, but it's fine. I mean, what's the worst that happens? It would be really cool if Kentucky broke out like old OG jerseys tonight or something. I don't think they will. No, don't do that. Come on. Like you went from fun to like insane from that. You kind of went from fun to insane there. All right, Kentucky men's. I'm going to see if they've got.
I haven't seen a post of it. Maybe it's prior days or something. I mean, they're wearing white in the Catlanta post, but does that mean anything?
I feel like they're probably wearing white tomorrow because I think they probably are.
I would hope it's tonight.
Here's a weird question. Like, does it matter what they wore last time they played Duke? Because I don't remember.
I mean, almost certainly it's never, ever mattered. I think we wore blue because I feel like I just saw the video of Paulo putting Keon Brooks in a blender all game.
That game made me so mad.
Yeah, I left D-dubs in like the second half. I was pretty upset. I'm pretty sure I deleted Twitter after that game.
We wore blue.
Okay. Well, hopefully we don't do that again. That didn't work. What did we wear against Zion? That definitely didn't work.
When was that? 2020?
2018. I like that we've become the...
was it 2017, 2018?
No, 18, 19. They wore blue, we wore white. So
maybe it is alternating. Yeah, they gave us the business in that game, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, that was not fun. I think what Reddit or Barrett had
Zion went for
32 and Zion had 31.
Yeah, Barrett had 33, Reddish had 22, Zion had 28. And for Kentucky, Johnson had 23, Reed Travis had 22, Tyler Hero had 14, PJ Washington 8, and Ashton Hagans 2. Ashton Hagans did not have a good game.
Reed was like the only human that could like do anything, and then Keldon appeared, and it was like the quiet 23.
And that team ended up being really good, though. I mean, that team did end up being really good. I mean, it was that's the other part where I think then it comes back to, yeah, you probably don't want to put a lot of stock in this game because Reed ended up not being like the man that season. He just was kind of early, and it kind of was like oh my God.
Is there a little bit? It's not the same extent, but is there a
kind of
little
like Terrence Jones? Kind of like Terrence Jones against UConn in the Maui Classic his freshman year, and he went off, right? And he never really had another game like that his freshman year. Okay.
Didn't he also score like 40 in the blue-white game or something? Everybody went
Terrence Jones?
Yeah, I feel like that happened.
I don't remember, but I know he scored a bunch against UConn and like Maui. But I hope we play in that again because I think the fans would be more excited about that.
If there was someone to have their only 20-point game of the season or 25-point game of the season, who would you think it would be?
Tonight?
Yes. If someone was the Terrence Jones that has their one game of the year.
Ainsley.
Ainsley?
I think because he's kind of he's a little bit of a matchup problem. He's big, he's physical, and he can shoot the ball. He can stretch the court. And I think if you're looking at guys who are going to be on the court that might not get as much attention, he might be one that they leave open. I mean, look, it's a little bit different. Terrence Jones was a big recruit for Kentucky. We thought he was going to be a superstar. He ended up being a great player, right? He won national championship with us, but he never really had another game like that, right?
It feels like Ainsley's a bit of a magician. I don't know if you feel that way. It feels like it's just like whenever something crazy happens, it's like, oh yeah, and Ainsley's in the corner. Like the ball just happens to find him, and he's standing there with 8 feet of space and nobody around him. I don't understand why he's always open and why he's so much more open than everybody else. But he just appears in the corner sometimes. I don't. Yeah. Even watching the game live, I'm not seeing him in the corner, and then all of a sudden he has the ball. I'm like, when did you get that?
It's. I don't know what I think Ainsley, because I mean, if you want to just go see, here's the thing. I feel like Kirk Kriisa probably is gonna have some games, more than one. So I think if you're looking at guys that I think could explode, yeah, that's there. I feel like that's probably gonna be. I think that's why I say Ainsley. I think if you're gonna find that one.
Yeah. Ainsley would make sense, and I do wonder what Duke is going to do defensively, who they're going to put Flag on, because we didn't touch on it. Yeah, Rando's right on that in the comment section that AA coming in and playing the 4 is a problem. Flag is significantly better on defense than he is on offense. This is like I've talked about his offense and kind of what he can do. This is an all-world, all-level, all-time defensive prospect, which is it's the same thing that we hear about people all the time. Like it's this the same glorifying the number 1 pick, but like defensively, that guy is a freak shit.
Yeah, but also,
so I'm interested. Well, I'm interested if they do the Giannis thing where they just kind of have him play roamer and free safety, or if they try to match him up on somebody if they try to match him up on Carr or try to speed up Amari or something.
I don't think that's a winning play for them if they put him on Amari. I think that's the one guy that would be a big problem for him. Now, on the flip side, I feel like Kentucky guys are going to have things to prove tonight, right? Like they've heard all the same shit that you're saying about Cooper Flag. And what's the one thing competitors want to do when they see that? Like, now,
beat the guy that I just called all world.
They're tired of hearing that shit. They've heard Cooper Flag all summer. They've been told that Cooper Flag is going to do this and Cooper Flag is going to do that and all these other things. And I'm telling you right now, Mark Pope probably doesn't have to walk into that locker room and say a damn thing about Cooper Flag. That whole team wants to, and not dirty, but they want to tear him apart, right? They want to prove a point. I think you're going to see a hard foul on him early in the game. I don't think it's going to be dirty. I think it'll be a professional foul. It probably come from Amari or Lamont, right? I think you're going to have one of those, and I think you're going to see one of Kentucky guys look at him and give him a look and just be like, "We're here." Right now, you better grown ass man yourself in this game because we're gonna play grown ass man basketball tonight. Look, and if he comes over and tears you up, he does it, and God bless him. But I think Kentucky has to kind of do that. Like, welcome to the show, welcome to the show, Rook, and do that. Give him a stare. You probably aren't going to intimidate him, but you're going to let him know. But I promise you, if he misses 1 or 2 or blows a layup because he thinks he's going to get hit, then that's the mind game. It won't matter if we're down 30, though. Kirk Kriisa is going to talk shit to him. Well, it won't matter. So, I mean, that part at least is going to be solid.
I am very excited for who did Tyler Ulis look up at that one game? Was it the Louisville guy that he stared up at, like the 6'11" massive center that Louisville had?
Wasn't it the guy that they played in, wasn't it the guy that Louisville had? Yeah, it was
I feel like we're going to get the Cooper Flag, dead ball, jump ball, both went for it. Neither of them lets go, and they're pulling the ball apart, and they get up and
wasn't it Onawaku?
That sounds right. Was that the guy that?
Yeah,
was that the guy that spit on his?
Yeah. So that's where I think it was the same guy because Tyler was talking shit coaching. Like Tyler's on the court
Yes,
talking shit
yes,
as the coach,
yes, he was,
and
yes.
and that, like, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna tell you right now, we'll go back in time a little bit just because we're talking about basketball. That was one of the single greatest Back to the Future hate games I've ever seen, and to be on the floor and then on the court after they won was amazing. I mean, amazing. It sucks that Nate Sestina didn't end up playing in the Final Four because I think Kentucky that team would have won. Are you excited about that coming next year? Do you think there's going to be more excitement with TBT next year, especially if Mark Pope's kind of more like? You think the Kentucky fan base now that it? I think the Cal thing probably hurt it a little bit.
Well, haven't they posted that they're still doing it?
I think
they're still doing.
I think they're doing it again.
Lots of even after Cal left, lots of John Wall rumors, lots of DeMarcus Cousins rumors.
I think next year you're going to get John Wall. I think next year you're going to get Boogie and you're going to get DeMarcus.
Those happen to be the same people, but
Boogie. So sorry, I said John Wall and DeMarcus.
My
bad. Boogie and John Wall. My bad.
My bad. I'm just picking at you.
In my brain, I thought the different thing.
Live show.
But like,
yeah, Boogie would be ridiculous in that.
The hate, the pure unbridled hate that those two guys that they had was outstanding. I mean, and it was so different than a traditional college game because I think you are right. I don't think the hate for Kelsey's the same as it was for Pitino, right? I don't think it was Cal and Pitino. They hated each other. They were both pretty good at the same time, so it meant a lot more when they would play. And it was just so funny that the Louisville fans wanted it so damn bad, and running the damn mascot out and everything. I mean, and for Kentucky to go into their trap and take their shit was the greatest thing I've ever seen.
It was like their revenge spot. It was like they had one more chance for their darling savior Ricky P to beat Cal, and with their players, and it's still
watching Peyton Siva throw up more bricks all over again was just like old times. It was great. I mean, it was literally like a Rick Pitino Cal game where they played really, really, really dirty, really hard on the defensive side of the ball, and Kentucky's talent and size ended up winning at the end because they just had more. And it was and when they played with that grit and determination,
the talent and size comes out in the end. The talent and size comes out in the end.
To that team, yeah, because you're also talking about Willie Cauley-Stein size and Carl Anthony Towns. Like, those are the type of dudes that were, and Anthony Davis. You're talking about freak shows in that instance. We're not just talking about size there. We're talking about freak size.
Hey, I don't know. I'm trying to go somewhere with my joke.
It didn't work.
But it's still funny. Size and talent wins.
Effort and enthusiasm. Like and enthusiasm over size, man. What's your prediction? Has it changed? Because when you put it out today, it was 85-82 Kentucky, and Jackson Robinson's the MVP. So,
yeah, I think for Kentucky to win, Jackson is who. And I know I said Crease is like if he plays good, but I don't think that there's if Jackson plays bad, Kentucky wins situation because of. And I know it's the team aspect, but at the end of the day, somebody has to be really good. Nobody wins championships without somebody being really good. Like, I know it's just the most simple way to, whoa, rando, okay. Yeah, but it's at some point, like, every good team has their guy, and we've tried to talk about how you don't need the guy, and it can be a team, and it can be this and that. Even the teams that don't have a guy, when they get to the end of the year in the tournament, they have a guy. And this is the game where that guy comes through because they have star power. if their star power is star power, we're gonna.
I feel like Kentucky's got
another,
4 guys that can be the guy, though.
if they shoot 3 for 3 from 3, they can be the guy. But if they shoot 0 for 4 from 3, then
okay.
they're not the
But
guy.
like
I say Ortega is kind of
how many games this year you think Kobe Bray is going to go 0 for 5 or 0 for 7?
Well, none. But also Bray is too bad defensively to be your best
But
player.
I'm talking about a guy who's going to get a bucket. I'm not worried about defensively. I think you got Jackson Robinson, you got Lamont Ortega, and you got Kobe. Those are the 4 guys. I think like Amari's like the steady sail. I think that's the thing. Amari has to always be the steady sail, but he's the glue for the whole team. But I think that from the perspective of the guys that are going to go get buckets, that can go get buckets, I think that's where you gotta. What the hell just happened?
You got rid of the chat.
No, there we go.
Oh, chat is back. Yes. Sorry, I got rattled by the chat thing. Can you say that last sentence one more time?
Amari has to be this.
Oh, everybody going off. Yeah, everybody can go off. I come back to, I know we're moving
Jackson
away
Robinson's the guy that can score at all. Jackson Robinson is the one. Him and Ortega are the 2 guys that can score at all 3 levels. That's the biggest difference between, I think, everybody on the team. They're the guys that can kill you from deep, kill you inside, and kill you at the rim. Those are the 3 or the 2.
Yeah, I would just think if you tell me before the season Ortega Owe is your offensive, he's going to be the guy that you're relying on. He's your offensive guy. It doesn't put a lot of confidence in me.
Casey called it, man.
I understand that the coach system with the time stuff and all that.
Yeah, but I will tell you, Casey called that because he looked at the advanced stats on Ortega and was like, this guy could be the best.
He's 38% on catch and shoots.
He was on it saying from the physicality standpoint that Ortega could end up being the best player that could be Kentucky's best player because of all the intangibles he has. And so far, he's been pretty damn close to right because of the advanced stats. Sometimes, but he also averaged 11 points a game last year, 11 or 13, I think, at Oklahoma. So it wasn't like he was a slouch.
Yeah, it's just about getting him into his efficient spots and the catch and shoot stuff, the catch and shoot advanced numbers and off the dribble numbers being so bad is kind of what made people think it fits in Pope's system. And that's, I went into big detail on the show that nobody could hear me last week about Ortega and how much room he has and how he's able to do some of his inside moves and how everyone's able to do more inside moves and create more. I don't know that I don't know. When you get to the end of a game,
you are so much. You sound like. Listen, you sound like. You sound like, Jaden. You sound like someone in a 1990s rom-com that just is scared to love, doesn't want to get his heart broken, and you just need Prince Charming to come and sweep you off your feet. You are going to be insufferable if this team wins tonight.
I mean, I still picked them to win, but I'm saying I don't think they win if Jackson Robinson doesn't play good. And maybe I'm wrong. I'm wrong all the time, as we know.
But what if Jackson Robinson doesn't play amazing, and let's say Lamont plays elite?
I would say that's quite fortunate. I don't want to rely on.
Well, sure. Yeah, I mean, look, but you're going to have games where, like, Kobe Bray is not going to shoot 7 for 8 on 3 every game. You're going to need somebody else, right? Like, I think you're just going to have to, like, that's the thing, and why I say Kentucky has got so much firepower and ability to win games and close games, because if one guy doesn't have it, there's another guy that might have it that night, right? I mean, Ainsley went 5 for 5, and if Kobe Bray goes 2 for 7, Ainsley goes 5 for 5, and Jackson Robinson scores 28, you're fine. I mean, and I'm not saying just tonight. I'm saying that you can plug and play the names in different positions in that with this team. And that's kind of, I think, the overall point why I think Kentucky's got an amazing shot to do some special stuff this year.
Yeah. And in any one game that works, but
bro, it's one game tonight. I don't care about next week.
I know. And that's what I was about to say. Maybe that's just a long-term point more than
I don't care.
No,
just tonight.
Okay. Then I will. Okay. Cat's fun.
Stop worrying about what happens next Tuesday. Just worry about tonight. Because if we win, it's going to be amazing. If Kentucky wins tonight, they're going to probably be borderline top 10 team, undefeated, going into next Tuesday, and the year gets it. Kentucky becomes the talk of college basketball. In 3 games into Mark Pope's era, Kentucky's the talk of college basketball.
I mean, the winner of tonight's game is like what people will think is like them in assuming Kansas wins.
Kentucky is the final. Kentucky will be a lot of people's Final Four picks if they win tonight.
Yeah, that's probably true. There's just, I think it's a good matchup because there aren't many teams that look like Duke, and there aren't many teams like in 2015. I know it's a popular thing. If we played anybody but Wisconsin, we win. Wisconsin was the only team that could beat us. Not that Duke is the only team that can beat us, but they have unique traits that will tell me if there are teams that it's like we just don't want to match up with them. It just does not a good matchup. And I don't know that Duke is that. I see the areas, especially, size and just, Cooper Flag is, these are the areas where it could be an advantage.
I can't wait not to hear that name already.
I mean, I don't know.
That name already makes me.
I like watching people.
That name already makes me Grayson Allen mad at this point.
I don't know. I guess that's you should follow Enjoy Basketball. It's Kenny Beecham's company. He's a Bulls fan, and his thing is, why do we hate everybody? And this is going. I will make my point. It's like, why hate watch instead of hate? Like, why watch somebody and not be like, dang, that guy's pretty good at basketball. Like, that guy's pretty fun to watch. And I think that, I don't know, maybe I'm brainwashed a little bit by that. But I watch Cooper Flag and I'm like, man, that's a lot of fun. But then I also watch us. That's not like I don't watch us. And I'm like, man, that looks awesome. Like, I want to go play. I want to go play in the Pope system. I also want to play with Cooper Flag. That would be cool. I don't know.
God,
it's two really good.
Insufferable to me.
It's fun.
All right. So your prediction is 85-82. You standing by it?
Yeah. I've flipped all the way back around in this show. I think I've only said good things about Duke. I hate Kentucky.
It's the way. Yeah, you're a secret Duke fan.
We're still gonna win. Yes, but we're still gonna win.
So I think I got 91-86. I just I'm having a hard time picking Kentucky under 90. Like, I feel like someone's going to have to keep us under 90 before I think that we're not going to score over 90 consistently. And that might be a really stupid thing, but I'm kind of like, until it happens, I'm going to keep going with it. So I think that's kind of, maybe you would think if tonight's the night, if you're not going to score 90, this would be a night you don't. But I also think that neither team is going to understand how to play defense tonight, and it's just going to be down to probably who hits more threes and gets more possessions.
Yeah, we've talked for, what are we at, an hour and 15 minutes. I'll give you guys the hint on who wins the game. Whichever team shoots good from three.
I like our chances.
You just you watch the big college basketball games, watch the big NBA games. Like, NBA games are mostly blowouts because it's whoever shoots.
Well, look, Kentucky has
in college is.
Kentucky has to shoot well from three to have a chance to win big games. Like, they're built, they're just built that way. So that's the thing.
And Duke will have to too.
I think if both teams were to shoot poor, I think Duke has more avenues to win.
Yes.
But
Duke will not be good at this season without.
Sure. No, I'm just playing devil's advocate in both teams tonight. Like, if both teams were to shoot at 38%, I'd be more worried about Kentucky winning than Duke.
Yes. I would pick Duke if you told me the field goal.
We'll score. We're going to shoot 35% tonight and win. And I'm just going to come tomorrow and be like,
yeah.
We're going to be like,
we'll shoot like
we don't know shit about anything.
We'll shoot like 9 for 29 from 3. We'll shoot like 9 for 29 from 3, win by 15, and we'll all be stupid.
We're going to shoot 32% from 3 and 68% from the field, and we're going to win by 15. Yeah. And we're going to get on the show tomorrow and be like, so I'm pretty sure I don't know anything about basketball because whatever we thought would happen yesterday, not shit happened.
And yeah, I mean,
this is why I am so confused. I don't know. Is this the least in touch with the game that you felt in a while? Because I think I feel that way. I have
No,
no
I
idea
actually
what's
don't
gonna
feel I feel like it's from the unexpecteds, right? I feel like there's a lot that you can definitely gain from this. Offense, shooting. If anyone thinks that we're going to get in and lock Cooper Flag up or any of these Duke guys and make them look like idiots, I don't think that's going to, I think you're asking for a lot, just like vice versa. If you think that you're going to come in and you're going to get our guys to not shoot and play well because shooting travels, right? I think that would be extreme. Now, can those things happen? Of course they can. It's sports and crazy shit happens all the time. But I think if you're looking at this objectively and you look at the stats and the teams, I would say they're a lot more evenly matched than we thought they were going into the season. They mirror each other a lot more. So that's why I think saying who's going to win is hard, but I don't feel like it's out of touch. I think out of touch is anybody coming in and saying one team's going to win by a lot, right? If you think if you're a Duke fan and you think that you're going to boat race Kentucky, I think you're dumb. If you're a Kentucky fan that thinks we're going to get in and boat race Duke, I think you're dumb. Can it happen? Sure, it can. But I think that if you're looking at this objectively, you're looking at this as like a 5-point game. Probably a bunch of haymakers thrown at each other until the very end, and whoever can get a stop, make a key stop or key bucket wins. Right? It might come down to who has the ball last. It's got that feel. Whether that happens or not, I think is there, but I don't feel out of touch with it because I think Kentucky in the four games in the 2 exhibitions, 2 regular season, you've seen what Kentucky is. You know what you're going to get from them. The unknown part is defense, probably. Like how are they gonna face now when they play? But I feel like that's the same with Duke. You don't know how like these guys are going to react when they're playing someone that's an elite scorer as well.
Yeah, we'll find out early if they're freshmen, and to me, especially Knipple is the one that I'm watching early on. Like you said, Flag is going to be Flag. To be honest, the only person that can stop Flag is Flag missing. But Knipple is someone that you can actually affect, and I am excited to see who we match up on him. And that is probably the key to the game because I think that we'll see whether the freshmen aren't ready or if the new system isn't ready. Yeah. Pretty quick. Like if we come in and we're sloppy because of the athleticism and we throw a bunch of turnovers and they're blocking everything, then I'm like, ooh, they weren't ready. They just happened. Like they were just. I think
it's also seeing Pope and how he handles a big game, right? Like there's an intriguing things there. Like how's Pope handle these? How's the adjustments going to go? With Cal, you knew everything, right? Like after 15 years, you could almost like if Cal did something out of the ordinary, you were just like,
I was probably cheering.
What's happening? Like
I was probably clapping if he was doing something different from normally.
That's going to be the piece here. Like, what does Pope do if Duke starts shooting real well? What's the adjustment he makes? What is he? Joe saying he thinks Chandler's probably not going to play as much tonight. That's probably I would say that's a solid thing. So how does he adjust to a 9-man rotation versus more of a 10-man rotation? Look at the beginning of the year. I know a lot of people were on Travis Perry and Trent Noah and Chandler, and everybody was like, "Oh, look at the." And what did we say? They're probably not going to play a lot, right? Defensive wise, they're a liability. They're not physically. They're physically not there yet. These guys are 2, 3, 4-year players. When they're juniors and seniors, they're going to be a big time contributor to the team. They're going to be really good players, but it's going to take time. They're going to have to develop. I think it goes to that 9 that we expected. I think you see Amari play as much as Amari can tonight, barring foul trouble. I think Garrison you see a little bit less tonight. I think Garrison is a defensive liability that isn't a defensive liability. And what I mean by that is when he's matched up, he's really good. My thing with Garrison is the off the ball attention on defense is where he's gotten smoked a few times on cuts and where he's got caught ball watching a little too much. Maybe they're fixing that. Maybe they see it. Maybe they've addressed it. But that's where I'd even say I think you're going to see more 8 guys tonight than you're going to even see 9. but also that depends on foul trouble and all that other stuff and playing well. Like, so those are the things that we don't know. I mean, these refs could suck and Amari could have 2 fouls on him in 3 minutes and the whole game changes.
Yeah, Amari foul trouble is a concern. It's very worrying. I know we've talked a little bit about that, but because Maluach is big and he's a little slow, even though he does hustle, we could definitely gas him with rotation. And I wonder if Pope will decide to not play a 5, just go opposite of it and kind of do what teams did to Edey and Purdue. Not that he is Edey, he's nowhere near Edey, but it's the same like physical limitations that make him or that make Edey or Rudy Gobert
but our
tough
5
to play against.
But our 5 is our 5 is athletic and can run the court, which I think is
but if Amari gets foul trouble,
gotcha.
does he go to Garrison or does he go to? I mean,
Carr's your biggest player on the court.
Maybe not what I would do, but Ainsley played center minutes. He wasn't the starting center, but he played
You
center.
could go to Andrew Carr and you could go with a 2 forward look with Ainsley and Andrew and really stretch the court.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I think you'd make him uncomfortable in that situation because you've got, I mean, no matter what, Kentucky's got 5 guys that can shoot and stretch the floor, but it really becomes evident when if you got Amari and they're playing like a 4, right? Because him and Andrew Carr can hit from deep, period. Much different look.
If Amari Williams shoots a 3 tonight, what is going to be the word that comes out of your mouth?
Nothing. I'm not going to say anything.
I'm trying to look. How many attempts does he have in his career?
I'm not going to say shit.
He has 26 3-point
I'm not going to say shit if he does it. It's going to be if he does it more than once. And now if Garrison shoots 3s, I'm going to be like, shit. If Amari shoots it, I'm going to be interested.
Garrison shot won a game.
Huh?
Garrison shot won a game. They didn't win, but he's shooting them.
Amari's not. I don't think Amari's taking him one this year, has he?
No, he hasn't. He attempted 3 last year, 15 his junior year, and then 6 and 2. But yeah, 1 for 3 last year.
It's just gonna be interesting to see. I mean, if he goes and shoots it, I'm not gonna be like, I'm just gonna, it's gonna be okay.
If he shoots it in the second half, I might leave the
if he does it and he's not hitting or it looks really ugly and he keeps doing it, then yes. But you get 1 or 2, I don't mind the look. Like I don't mind the threat of the shot. Even sometimes the threat of it is worth it. So
I wish there was a way to nicely ask why he holds the ball the way he does during his free throws. Like I need a professional journalism way to like ask what the science is behind.
Hey Amari, why is your free throw look so
damn
ugly?
Hand off of it like 2 or 3 different times. It's like everything you're taught not to do as a basketball player, but he does it. But obviously they've taught this, so there is a reason. And I wish that I was either A, smart enough to know the reason, or B, good enough at this job to ask that in a way that isn't, why are you doing that?
It's that European game, bro.
He fascinates me because he's so good until he like tries to shoot a free throw, and then it looks like he doesn't know what he's doing.
Look, free throws are the one thing that worries me a little bit about the team because I feel like we're not necessarily the greatest 3, but it's because of the guys that usually are going to the line are the ones that aren't. I mean, we don't have like guards that are elite getting in the line 10 times a game, right? And that's where I think that part is there. But let's hope they do it. So, all right. We got a lot of talking to do later, so I think this is a good way to end it. We're going to do the live show tonight, the live watch along. It's going to be fun and interesting, so hopefully you guys join us for that. And we'll get things ready and get that pie. I got to go get some firewood and stuff apparently. So, but I'm excited. It's going to be exciting to watch a meaningful college basketball game because I always have a hard time just really getting into the Bucknells and the Wright States and all those. Like, it's way more enjoyable when you start playing teams that you really don't like that are good.
And yeah, at the end of the day, it's Duke, Kentucky. It doesn't get better, in my opinion.
Listen, Kentucky really does need a win. In the aspect that we're 2-6 in the since 1990 against them, like we don't.
Yeah, I think we've won once since
twice.
2000.
Oh, since 2000 maybe we're 2-6 in our last 8 against them. We've lost 5 of the last 6. So
Yeah.
we
And we're really bad at the Champions Classic.
yeah,
too.
we really need a win against Duke in a couple ways, but at the same time, if we don't, I think we understand where we're at. And but anyway, so Jaden, I'll see you tonight. Everyone, thanks for watching. We'll also have the whole show up here in just a few minutes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that kind of good stuff. So if you want to go listen to the whole show, you can. And we'll see you guys tonight. So go Cats.